In this section, we are implementing the cart details, where when this icon is clicked, we are going to show the details of product. So first thing is we are going to create a component for the cart. So I go to the components folder, and here I'm going to create a new folder saying cart, and again that will have the index. First thing is I'm going to import the required packages, and I'm creating the component, which is a functional component. Let's first of all define the basic structure and export the component. Let's also import to the main file. So I'm going to define the route here, and view cart is the route I'm defining, and the component will be the cart component. Let's also go to the header component, where there is an href, that is the anchor tag. Instead, we are going to have the link tag. Here is the icon. Let's import the link package from the React Router DOM. And here I'm going to use the link. View cart is the route, and the end of link will be after the icon, that is I. Let's check the output once. Now when I click on the cart icon, the component is opened. We are going to design this later on. There is also some CSS issue, but we are going to resolve that later on. CSS related to the icon. Icon is not getting displayed same as it was. But let's start implementing the cart component now in detail. Now we are going to use the values from the reducers we have defined, the global store that is. So I'm going to import the selector. We are going to fetch the global store data here, the cart data, which we have already done in the previous section as well. Defining the structure. We'll display the data in the table structure, where we'll have the product details like product, product price, quantity, and total. And in the table body, we are going to have the details. So I'm going to use the curly brackets and fetching the values of cart item. So we'll loop through the collection of data using the map method. First, we are going to show the image of the product. Second is the price. Quantity and total we are displaying. Let's check the output now. I click on the cart. Items are getting added. Now I click here. So the tabular format, that is the data, is displayed. Of course, we need to format this, but it has started working. That is, the cart component has started working. Now let's apply some styling here. We are going to fix the height and width. Now let me add the cart value. And click on the cart icon. Let's change the height and width. Now let's again click and go to the cart and see now how does it look. You can decide the height and width as per your requirement, but we'll live with this at the moment. Now let's also add the total of quantity and value, that is the price, and let's also format the price and total, that is numeric values. So here with the item, first I'm going to use parse float for 2 decimals. And that goes with the item total as well. That is actually the total price. Here I'm going to display the cart total. So let's create a separate division for that. Here I'm going to display the value. That is the total value. Let's try to add the items to the cart from details page also. Let's add 4 quantity. Now you see that all the items with quantity properly getting displayed. The cart total is also displayed. I need to change a bit of CSS there. Now you see that the total is also displayed. Let's try it again. And you see that the functionality of cart detail view is implemented. Now there are 2 things we need to take care here. One is that there can be a choice of a person for continuing the shopping, or one can check out. So these 2 functionalities we are going to add now. So we are going to add a link here which will go to the continue shopping. Now the button is added. So now the cart total is aligned below the total column. Now when I click on the continue shopping, you see that it comes back on the main page where one can continue with the shopping. Let's try it again. I'll say continue shopping. Again, select another product and click here. We'll go back to the cart and you see that the product is added. Now here the quantity which we have is a fixed value. Now we want to give a provision where user can edit the quantity from this place as well. So let's do that. Here we need to provide the editing facility. So there will be two buttons, minus and plus, which will help to increase or decrease the quantity. So we're going to keep the input box in fact disabled. You see there is a plus and minus icon with the quantity. Now with plus and minus, we are supposed to update the cart, the total, and of course the cart total. So that's what we are going to implement now. Let's go back to the code. And we are going to use the same functions which we tried to update the cart. It's already predefined since few sessions, so we are going to call the same update cart method. This we have already seen in the previous sections as well, so not giving any detailed explanation. We are going to add one operation here though, which will give us the idea whether it is adding or reducing the items depending on the plus or minus button clicked. So if the operation is add, then we are going to add the quantity. Otherwise there will be -1. Now we are going to dispatch the action. Action is add cart item, and we are going to pass the product details. And update cart function will be called when the buttons, that is plus and minus, are clicked. So on click of this span, calling the update cart with the product, that is the item details, and the operator is add, and here in the minus span it will be anything other than add, but we are going to give some meaningful value, so subtract. Let's try it again. Clicking the cart. Now you see that every time I click on the plus, it increases the value and the quantity as well, and total is also getting updated. The entire cart in fact is getting affected. Let's click on minus. You see that the quantity is getting reduced. So now you see that when I click on the minus, it goes till 0. Now let's say we want to fix it to 1 only, minimum value. So with the minus, we are going to have some validation here. So I'm using a ternary operator here, where if item is less than 1, then nothing needs to be passed. Let's try it once again. Now here I click minus. You see that if it is 1, then it won't allow me to reduce the quantity. If you want, you can also implement removal of item on minus, but ideally we put a separate remove button, because by mistake if user clicks minus value, then it will remove, which is not a good functionality. But if you want, depending on the requirement, you can do it. Right now I'm adding a remove button which will allow me to remove the item from the cart. So let's add the icon and the functionality to remove the item from the cart. Now we'll have to also create an action which will remove the item from the cart. So far we have only added the items. Let's go to the actions first. We define the action and then we'll go to reducer. So cart is the action. Here we have to define the remove cart item. Here I'm going to say type is equal to action.types dot. We have to define the constant as well. So I'll go to types and we'll define remove cart item. And here I'm going to write remove cart item and we'll return the data as well. Let's go to the reducer now. In the cart, we have the functionality which adds the item to the cart. Now we are going to implement the removal of item. So we are going to put a condition. Here I'm going to say if the case is remove cart item, here I'm going to have the temporary collection. So now I'm defining the logic which will remove the item. Filter is the method I'm using, and filter will return me a new array with the values which do not match with the given ID. So that particular item will be removed from the collection. This is the data which we need to return as well. So I'm just copying it from the already implemented reducer. Let me change this value to temp item. And here as well. Let's save this. Now on click of this icon, we are going to call the action, that is remove cart item. And we are going to pass the value of item. I'm going to add a few items again. Now you see that there is a cross button getting displayed. Let's add the quantity. I click on the cross button now. That is to remove. And you see that the item is removed. And the total is also updated, the cart total that is. So this is how you can implement the removal functionality. Now we are going to implement proceed to checkout functionality. Let's add the respective button and classes. I'll say proceed to checkout. Let's also add values from different ways. And again we go back to the cart. So now proceed to checkout will lead me to the payment page. That's going to be the next section.